guess in 4 or 5 years, the new generation's music will be, it'll have a synthesis of everything. It'll be entire, maybe it'll be, it might rely heavily on electronics, tapes. I can kind of envision maybe
okay, my face wasn't there. So anyway, what's up everybody, and welcome to FPL Today Live. Great start to the stream. Technical difficulties at the beginning, stream cut off, but we are here to talk Fantasy Premier League football. Looking forward to Game Week 5. So welcome everybody, welcome to the stream. And of course, what is everybody drinking? I am drinking dark fruit cider, cheap stuff, because I'm pretty cheap, I suppose. And yeah, I drink so much on stream that if I actually drank something expensive all the time, I'll probably make myself bankrupt. But anyway, let me know what you are drinking in the chat, as we have the likes of FPL Centre, TP Football Analysis, Chaos, Gordon Gilbody, The False Nine, Another Hoops, Bandari, Shashank, Sheriff Ed, Bryce Lieur, Daraj, and plenty more. Matthew Berry getting in there first as well when I kind of fake started the stream. Evan J. Fox is in there, Alan Arjaninovic. So we got a full house to begin the stream with. So welcome everybody, and let's get straight into it. First of all, I do actually want to talk about some stuff that I would usually have put in the talking points video, the video I do straight after a game week, but just never got the chance to because of work, unfortunately, and stuff like that, and looking after my kids over the weekend. So I still haven't recorded any actual videos, just been doing the live streams, which may be the way I go over the international break, just to kind of give myself a break from doing all the video content. So I've quite liked having, say, the time off from actually filming a video, because I take a little bit more editing, to be fair, and get to spend some time with the family. So anyway, I did write notes for Game Week 4, so I do quickly just want to talk about them, because otherwise I wrote them for no reason, and we will get onto that now. So Game Week 4, I know it was a week ago, so let's try and refresh our memories. We got a couple of talking points from Game Week 4. The first one is consistent Chelsea. Now, I'm going to be completely honest, I was concerned about Chelsea options at the beginning of the season. I didn't put any in my side, although I was very close to including Pedro at times and Alonso at times. But new manager, new players, I was worried that they'd take time to gel. I didn't know if Seri's system would work. Of course, they played Man City and they didn't exactly look great in that game. However, despite this, Seri's style of football has really benefited some Chelsea players, some of which were already doing well last season anyway. So Kante's been more advanced. David Luiz has seen his place in the pecking order revitalised under Seri as well. But there's pretty much 3 players that we want to be looking at. Pedro is one of them, Marcus Alonso and Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard and Marcus Alonso don't need much upselling. When they're on form in a Chelsea side that are playing well, both have been consistent Premier League options, fantasy Premier League options for a while now. But Pedro is definitely one that's interesting. He seems to benefit from Seri's style, and it's Kind of a shame that Willian came in last game week because it looked like Pedro was becoming nailed on, so it'd have been nice to see him stay. But so far he's played, Pedro, 265 minutes so far this season, compared to Alonso's 360. He's managed to get 3 goals, 11 attempts, 7 from inside the box, 6 on targets, minute per chance at just under 25 minutes a chance, goal involvement at 38%. That is very good for a very cheap midfielder. He's probably around 6.7 now, but when I wrote down the stats, he was at 6.6. More minutes than Hazard, but Hazard looks pretty nailed on now that he's returned to match fitness. 2 goals, 2 assists. More penalty area touches than Pedro, 25 to 18. Attempts 10 from inside, only 4. However, with him you get goal threat as well as chances created. He's created 10 chances so far this season, and his goal involvement is at 67%. And then Marcos Alonso, 1 goal, 5 assists, 2 proper assists. Penalties don't really count as assists unless you're playing Fantasy Premier League. But he's had 16 penalty area touches for a defender, creating chances as well. A chance on goal every 30 minutes, goal involvement at 60% as well. So right now I think you need some Chelsea coverage. With their fixtures currently the way they are, we have next for Chelsea Cardiff and West Ham, then it is Liverpool, but then you've got Southampton, Man United, and then after Man United, what do we have? Burnley, Crystal Palace, Everton. So I'd say it's pretty safe to say that you're going to need some Chelsea coverage, even if there's a game week every now and again that isn't fantastic for them. So definitely be looking at your Chelsea players. What I would do now is I will get some questions, and if some questions dry up, I'll get on to my next point that we didn't cover. So we're going to start at the bottom. If you've already asked a question, get another question in. We will try and find one now to discuss. Thank you, FPL Centre, for getting everyone to try and like the stream. It's much appreciated. We got FPL Frenchie in the chat as well. By the way, if you guys didn't know, FPL Frenchie is a guy that streams as well. Go check out his channel. I've jumped into one of his streams this week. Plan on jumping into a few more. So if the flock can go and support FPL Frenchie, you know I love the community, want to support everyone that's trying to create content. Smaller, bigger than me, doesn't matter. Go and support his channel, go drop him a sub, and make sure to tune in to his next stream. Okay, so Bryce Leo, I suppose it carries on from my talk about Chelsea, asks, 3 Chelsea players is not too much. For me, I reckon I went over the players I reckon are the ones you want to look at. It's Pedro, Hazard, and Alonso. I think right now you want Alonso in your side, and then ideally you want Hazard. If you can't afford Hazard, despite the fact that Pedro probably is still a slight rotation risk, I think he suits the style. He came on as a sub and still managed to get points. So I think Pedro right now, if you haven't brought Hazard in, then bring in Pedro. Would I bring in 2 Chelsea midfielders? With the lack of coverage up front, Morata's not looked good. Giroud, probably likely to get points if he does start, but I'm not sure I would double up on Chelsea because then you're limiting your midfield options. And so I'd probably go with one of Hazard or Alonso, Pedro myself. We will quickly cover some injury news because I saw talk about Shaw and I saw talk about Walcott. So as far as I'm aware, the Walcott situation, potential return is for the next game week, 16th. But we've got a 75% score there. I say we've still got to wait for a bit more news on him, but it's looking promising that he could be back. If you've used a wild card, I probably wouldn't go with Theo Walcott, but if you've got him in your side, he may not be a transfer you have to make, but still wait and see on that. And then Luke Shaw was one mentioned after the England game. I still don't fully understand the UEFA Nations League. I need to wrap my head around it. But a concussion, potential return is the 15th, but it's at 25% right now. So concussions are something that they have to take very seriously, of course. So I would lean towards Shaw potentially not starting the next game, personally. That's what I think. FPL updates in the chat as well. By the way, if you don't know, I've worked with them in the past. FPL Updates is a website that with plenty of articles to help you with Fantasy Premier League. Also a great Twitter handle as well, FPL Updates, which will give you updates as they happen during a live game week. So we'll tell you who scored, we'll tell you who gets assists, and we'll tell you the bonus points. And they're my personal favourite one that provides that service on Twitter. Sometimes they do wait a little bit longer than other places just to make sure they get it right. But to be honest, with the way the Premier League is and the FPL, there's always a chance you're going to get it wrong. Who knows sometimes what decisions they're going to make. But definitely check out FPL Updates. We have Shashank Bandari saying, are you not considering Mitrovic? Which brings me on to my budget options. Nice segue there for me by... I've already forgotten to ask Shashank. So thank you for that. Now, personally for me right now, budget options and the ones you've picked could have been the difference for you so far this season on whether you've had good game weeks or bad game weeks. Many of the expensive options haven't done that well. The likes of Lukaku, Lacazette, Hazard, Mane did deliver last game week, but apart from Mane and Hazard, has there been really expensive options that have been really consistent? Plenty of premium price options have let FPL sides down. In the Fantasy Premier League, meanwhile, cheaper options with promising underlying stats have continued to convert these into points. Troy Deeney has managed to score against Spurs and continues to look a better option than Andre Gray. Mitrovic and Schürrle both look really good. The underlying stats supports the fact that they're going to continue to score goals in my mind. Schürrle does like a long shot. Mitrovic did have plenty of attempts initially without scoring at the beginning of the season, but if these underlying stats continue, I can't see why Mitrovic and Schürrle wouldn't continue to score points. I like the fact they're entering this league and playing some attacking football as well. Danny Ings converting his good underlying stats into points as well in the Southampton side that I'm not too confident about backing. But for me, it's the likes of Schürrle, Mitrovic and Ings that have really stood out. Troy Deeney, I believe, could be a viable option. It was brought to my attention that Watford do generally start well in a season and then drop off. But Troy Deeney's always been one of those players that looks like he could have a good and consistent season. But for me, the striker that's standing out in the budget options is Mitrovic. Probably a bit late to bring him in if you wanted to get him before a price rises, but he's still relatively cheap. So definitely look at Mitrovic. Just even forget the schedule and the fixtures. I know Fulham have Man City next, so maybe not for the next game, but Man City have conceded. They conceded against Wolves, could happen against Fulham. Watford and Everton. Watford on form, Everton, you can see goals being scored against Everton, and Watford have conceded some as well. Arsenal's defence look there for the taking if Fulham really want to do it. Cardiff, Bournemouth and Huddersfield 9, 10 and 11 game week, 9, 10 and 11. Looks like a good run of fixtures. Liverpool probably isn't the best one in game week 12, but out of 8 fixtures, there's 5 decent ones there where you'd think Mitrovic and Schürrle will potentially get some points. Mitrovic, 4 goals, 1 assist so far this season. Penalty area touches 24, 18 attempts on goal. On target, 9 of them, so 50% shot accuracy rate. Minute per chance at 20 minutes. Goal involvement at 71%. And then Schürrle as well, 2 goals. Penalty area touches at 12, attempts 14, 6 of those on target, minute per chance at 17.1 minutes, goal involvement at 33%. So both have looked very good. Schürrle, a very cheap midfielder for you that looks to be playing very advanced. And then Danny Ings as well, 5.6 million, 2 goals at the moment. Danny Ings may have gone up in price, but I don't think he has. 24 penalty area touches, 14 attempts, 12 have come from inside the box, only 5 on target. His shot accuracy doesn't compare to Schürrle and Mitrovic's. However, minute per chance at 19.4 minutes, goal involvement at 67%. Very cheap very cheap striker that could potentially allow you the likes of Hazard and Salah in midfield. So I definitely like the look of Mitrovic. He's definitely one I'm considering. Okay, just looking for another question. Jeff, I'm always happy to give Maria help, but I'm trying to avoid doing too many teams reviews now in these because there's so many people in them now compared to previously. So, Jeff, if you want to drop me a message, you are a patron, of course, you get some perks. So if you want to drop me a message, I will try and give as much advice as possible. By the way, if you didn't know, I do have a Patreon, and that Patreon does give you access to Discord, where, of course, you will get access to me, and I answer questions pretty much every day as soon as they are asked. So definitely check that out if that is something that you are interested in. We've got a small little community in that Discord at the moment. So if you are interested, link is in the description down below. And let's see if there is another question. Trying to think if there's something I haven't really covered yet. Okay, so Tioman Carr is asking, is Aubameyang a viable option considering their great run of fixtures? It's an interesting one because there is reason to believe that he is going to improve his current output. Now, he started every game. He seems to be a favoured option. However, he scored 1 goal in 4 games, and that is pretty poor considering he's had 10 attempts on goal. You'd have expected him to have more in 4 games, to be fair. Having maybe roughly 3 chances a game, 34.4 minutes per attempt. 4 shots on target out of 10. Shot accuracy is only 40%. Goal conversion is only at 10%. Created 6 chances for his teammates. They're not amazing stats. Penalty area touches 8. 8 penalty area touches in 4 games is poor. Expected goals is at 1.15. So it's kind of showing that he's kind of letting the side down as far as when he gets his chances, he's not doing much with them. Whereas the problem is, Lacazette has played or started 1 game, and every time Lacazette plays, he looks dangerous. And if we could just see that Lacazette was more nailed on, then he would be a great option. 9.4 million currently. He's got 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 assists, which is better than the output from Aubameyang. Expected goals is better at 1.2 instead of 1.15. You're looking at more penalty area touches in less minutes, 16 to 8. And he's roughly played about half the time, Lacazette, and got twice as many touches in the box. Goal attempts, he's on 9 to Aubameyang's 10. Attempts inside the box, it's 6 to 5 in Lacazette's favour. Shots on target, it's in favour of Lacazette. Minutes per attempt is in favour of Lacazette. Shot accuracy and goal conversion is better for Lacazette. Minutes per chance created is better for Lacazette. 6 chances created to 6 with less minutes. So if you're being outperformed by a player in the same side that is playing less minutes than you, then I don't think it's a good look to be bringing that player in. Now, don't get me wrong, I've said it every time I've spoken about Aubameyang. He could be just a game week away from having a really good score. So it's possible, but right now I don't see why you'd make that move. Ivan Ajavan, this one word, I don't know how to say it in one sentence. What I will say there, because you seem to be chasing price rises like me, don't worry, I haven't really got any price rises either. Basically, if you didn't do it on Saturday, it looks like you probably missed the boat. There is, of course, still until Saturday for us to try and chase those price rises. But right now, there's no one that's gone up twice in the current game week. Mitrovic is closest to going up again, and he's not someone I brought in, which is unfortunate. Alonso isn't that close, but is the next closest on 38.2%. of the way to going up again. So it's still possible someone goes up 0.2. The way I would look at it is at least you brought in players that were on the rise, and if you want to keep them, you're now not spending an extra 0.1 million, because to get the rise in team value, you need to get a 0.2 million rise in a player from when you got him to when you sell him, because you only get half of your selling rate, and if you sell on an odd number, you're only going to get under the 50%. So if you sell on 0.1, you get nothing. If you sell on 0.3, you get 1.1. So don't worry about it if you haven't got those price rises. As Robert Hanson with the super chat, thank you so much, Robert. Thank you for the support. It's been a while, Robert. It's been a while. Can we get some hearts in the chat for Robert? Shaban, I do not play Champions League fantasy football. I spend so much time on Fantasy Premier League. I don't think I would have time for Champions League as well. Maybe in the future when I have more time to spend on streams and doing fantasy football, I might move over to that as well. Thoughts on Zaha from Shayob? Not sure how to say it, but if Zaha's playing, he's an option from that Palace side. The fixtures do look okay for Palace. Huddersfield, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Wolves, Everton in the next 5. The issue is without Zaha, Palace look pretty poor. So it's pretty much if Zaha's there, he's an option. If he's not there, don't worry too much about Crystal Palace. Would like to speak about Moura. Right now, I think you can't drop Moura on the form he's in. I know I've always been one to say when Son comes back, he might be dropped. I think he'll get a stay of execution because of how he's performed. Until that point, I'm not going to transfer Moura in case I've missed the boat. Basically, if I transfer him in and Son comes in, or he has one bad game week and then Son is playing, I'm going to feel stupid. So I'm not looking at bringing him in just yet. Moura is definitely an option. He is currently in my side, as you can see on that screen, but that was because I thought he might rise in price. So Moura, if you've already got him, keep him. If you don't already have him, I wouldn't suggest bringing him in necessarily. A Fraser injury update is wanted, so I'll have a quick look at that. Okay, so that's a strange one because it says a knock, no return date, 50%. To me, that means the website I use isn't fully confident in what is happening with Ryan Fraser. And when there isn't like that confidence in what's wrong, I would generally avoid, purely because if it was something minor, it probably would have come out by now. So for me, if you can wait on it and you don't have to transfer Fraser out, put him on your bench for a game week. Or you could play him, and if he is injured, he's definitely coming off for whoever it is on your bench. But keep an eye on it. Wait for the press conferences. That is a good way to see what is happening with players just before the deadline. Ian Hamilton wants to know my thoughts on Sterling, and apparently it's the first time he's caught one of the streams live, so we'll have a look at Sterling. Sterling's an interesting one because he's actually not had a bad start to the season, but he's kind of gone under the radar because of the likes of Schürrle, Hazard, Pedro, Moura, Pereira, Richarlison, Mane. But Sterling has had a good start to the season. 3 starts, scored 2 goals so far. Penalty area touches 26. That's an incredibly high amount. Attempts 8. Would probably want a few more attempts, but from 3 games, that's not too bad. 4 shots on target, 50% shot accuracy, 32.8 minutes per attempt. Goal conversion rate at 25%, which is better than some players we've looked at today. Also created 4 chances for teammates, a chance created every 66 minutes. Expected goals isn't amazing. Expected assists isn't amazing either. But he's not had a bad start to the season. The issue is there is quite a bit of rotation, or it seems like there will be quite a bit of rotation at the midfield position for Man City. So I would definitely say it's not one I would risk just yet, purely because I think potentially, as Capkin Gaming in the chat, how you doing, Capkin? I personally think, apart from maybe De Bruyne when he's back, there is no person in there that is nailed on in my mind. I know Bernardo Silva, I believe, has played all 4 games. Or no, I think he didn't play the last one. So I don't think there is a midfielder that has played all 4 games for Man City. If I go to appearances, is there anyone in the 4s for Man City? No, Bernardo Silva's played in 4 games, but I believe he's only had 3 starts. Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, to be fair, Fernandinho may have played in, but he's not really someone I'd look at. He started all 4, Fernandinho. But to me, there's too much rotation at Man City. Sterling, if he was nailed on, is a great choice though. We saw what he could do last season. He has improved a lot under Pep. But they just have so many options in that Man City midfield. I'd say more so than the likes of Liverpool. And I know a lot of people are worried about Liverpool rotation as well. I personally believe there will be a player or two in both sides that are pretty nailed on, at least for the group stages. I know Liverpool have tougher fixtures, but both Liverpool and Man City will want to win the Premiership as well. And if Man City can get anything like the record they had last season, Liverpool can't afford to drop points and rest too many of their main players during Premier League games. For those asking, because I've seen it in the chat as well, I'm trying to catch price rises. It looks like I missed the boat. I was planning on not playing my wild card, but then after game week 4, after the Sunday, I looked at my score, I looked at the fact that I hadn't improved my ranking, and I thought I should play it. I probably played it too late to catch any price rises. On the plus side, I avoided any price drops in some of the players I had, and I got some players in before at least 1 price rise. Ideally, I want 2. And if it's on players I'd have had anyway, it's probably irrelevant. But it would be nice if it's on players I'm looking to get rid of. To be honest, if I do look at my side, because I'm assuming a lot of you don't know, as far as goalkeepers go, that will change according to what I like the look of closer to the beginning of Game Week 5. But Hammer was brought in just so I had more money to use for price rises. Alonso's probably staying. That defence will probably stay. Robertson may go, but I think Mendy and Alonso are the 2 that I'm really keen on. Robertson I'm also very keen on, but I just feel like Trent Alexander-Arnold could up his game. It's not definite. I think Robertson still is the best Liverpool defender, but there's still part of me that thinks that's a lot to spend in defence. I mean, my other 2 defenders are very cheap right now. Actually, Holebas is 4.5 because I thought he might rise in price. That would probably change back to Wan-Bissaka. Just for budget reasons. Hazard is one I want to keep. If I do, I don't know, because I still want Salah. Mane could be the casualty for Salah. Could stay. Pedro depends on if Hazard stays. Lucas Moura probably going out. But I mean, I could keep it that way. Wilson, I probably want to keep. Aguero I want to keep. Deeney, I'm not too sure about. I will not have 3 Watford players. I may leave 1 Watford option in. I doubt it's going to be Deeney though, so I think Pereira might be the one. And then Bennett is in there because I thought price rises and he's a playing £4 million defender. So it could possibly change, but there's a lot of players in there that I do like the look of. Okay, so this question is from Discord, and it's from Kanitz, or at least that's his Discord name. I've forgotten what his actual name is. Apologies, I'm not remembering. But he asks, is any Liverpool attacking midfielder an option? And I have spoken about this before. Liverpool players can score against big teams. They can. We've seen it time and time again. Big games also seem to have more open defences. So attacking options, when you bring in a player, the likes of Mane, Salah, Hazard, you don't want to be transferring them out all the time. They're kind of the ones you want to be keeping in, and then you use your other players to bring in the differentials or the cheaper budget options. So for me, if you've got a Liverpool player on your side, if they go and have really good performances against some of these big teams, you're just missing out on points. They're the type of players that can have good performances against any side because they are quality players at big clubs in quality sides. So just because the fixtures aren't good doesn't mean you have to transfer out every player in that side that doesn't have good fixtures. Okay, Colin Barker asks, any 4.5 million defenders? And Chaos, that could happen, the Mitrovic move from Dini. Holebas was in there for the price rise. But 4.5 million defenders, for me, I don't think there was any that really stood out. Someone want to see my transfer value. Have I actually forgotten how to look at that? This is how long I've been away from FPL. I'm sure there's an easy way to look at it. And I'm probably just being really dense. There we go. Squad value is 101.3 million with 0.4 in the bank. So that is my squad value. And as for 4.5 million defenders, I mean, Holebas has gone up to 4.8. Steve Cook up to 4.6. Cathcart, I mean, Watford's defence have looked decent. He is 4.5 million, 21 points. I think I'm going to struggle because I think the ones I would have looked at have gone up in price. Schlupp is out of position, but Palace have looked poor without Zaha. Cedric, I still don't mind the look of, to be fair. 12 points and he's at 4.4 million right now. 12 points in the last game. I mean, Southampton aren't my favoured team to be looking at, but that's not bad, 4.4 million for Cedric. Johnny as well, I believe, has been playing. 9 points last game week. He is also 4.4. So those are probably where I'll be looking at. I don't mind Brighton Hove Albion defenders because they do have goal threat like Duffy. So that's probably where I'll be looking there if I was going 4.5 million. Catch you later, Bryce. Thanks for joining the stream. FPL Frenchy asked, do you feel like you could regret playing your wild card? I never regret playing my wild card because everyone stresses over it and I'm not sure 100% why. Maybe I'm just a more chilled out person, but you play the wild card when it suits your team. It's that simple. If your team isn't doing as well as you want it to be doing, play your wild card. If your team looks like it's not going to do that well in the future and you're riding your luck, use your wild card. If your team's really underperforming, use your wild card. If your team's doing well and you don't feel like you need to use it, if you're happy with your rank, if you're overperforming in how you thought you'd do, then of course don't use it. But looking at the up and coming fixtures and looking at how my team lined up and looking at the players I had there were too many options that I had in my side that either weren't playing or I wasn't confident in would do well. I think it was something like 4 or 5. Now, even if neither of them were goalkeepers, if we eliminate goalkeepers from the mix, that's 13 players and 5 of them I didn't like the look of, which left me with 8 players that I was happy with. Now, why wouldn't I play the wild card there? Now, people go, oh, but in game week, whatever, when other people are playing the wild card and there's more information, it might be like, oh, I've made the wrong choice. Yes, that's completely possible. But if I kept this side and it did really badly for the next 3 game weeks, I'd be like, well, that was the wrong choice as well. It's always possible that you're going to make the wrong choice. But if it sounds right, use your wild card. If it feels right, use your wild card. There is no right or wrong time to use it. it's a bit the same with a chip. It's easy in hindsight to say, oh, you shouldn't have played a triple captain when it doesn't work in game week 3. But if it did work, you're like, well, look at me now. And everyone's like, oh, well played. What a great move. None of us can see into the future. My side was not how I wanted it, so I played the wild card. It's that simple. I've played the wild card, the second wild card, before the double game weeks, and everyone called me a lunatic. This was when I was a lot smaller of a channel. I still had a pretty decent rank that season, and I had, when I played the wild card, a pretty poor rank. So as long as you use it and it works and your team is improved, and to be honest, I think when I do finalise my team, there's going to be players in there that I feel are pretty nailed on. So even if they don't do amazing, I'm in a better position than I was before I played it, when I had players that weren't even playing. Okay, there is a lot of talk about David Silva, so I'll feel bad if I do not talk about David Silva. Now, I'm still of the mindset that I'm going to avoid David Silva. I think he's a great player. Generally, over the years, he's proven to be a better option for assists than goals. And of course, goals are where you get the most points. Now, the Man City side, there could be goals from absolutely anywhere if we're completely honest with ourselves. And David Silva definitely looks hungry. It's possible that what happened with his kid and everything has like given him a new hunger for life. Stuff like what he went through can do that for you. You learn to realise how precious life is and to make the most of it. So for me, 3 starts, 243 minutes. Pep has said he might play less or feature less this season. But then Pep may have said that assuming things would be a certain way, and it may have changed. Silva may have come back and said, look, I want to have a good couple of seasons now before I decide to retire and spend time with family. We don't know what has been said behind closed doors, but Silva has looked good. 25 penalty area touches in the 3 games he started in. He scored 1 goal, 8 attempts. That's equal to some players we were expecting more from. 6 attempts from inside the box, only 3 shots on target, only 1 big chance which he missed. Attempt every 30.4 minutes, a shot accuracy at 37.5, goal conversion at 12.5. And then we got through balls, 1 chances created in total 13 with 3 big chances. He looks like he could be getting assists again. Now, Silva's always going to be one of those that when he plays, there's always a chance he gets an assist. He is a consistent player, but generally, compared to other midfielders with bigger goal threat, he doesn't usually outscore them. So I personally won't be going David Silva, but I can't argue against anyone that is looking at him. Okay, a bunch of people want to know my overall rank. Is this the point where people are like, I'm not going to listen to this guy's advice unless he has a good rank? Good rank is relative. I'm not going to lie, last year I was disappointed, but every other year I've been quite happy. So I will show you my overall rank history. So there we go. I know it's not really clear there. I'll try and make it bigger. Okay, maybe not too big, so you can still see the dates. And I will say it out loud. So these 2 seasons here, please forget, because I did not take the game seriously. If you know my story, I really started enjoying fantasy football when I played Sun's version of the World Cup 2014 game, and I beat all my friends. And I enjoyed beating all my friends. I'm not going to lie. We then all started a mini league together because we were all pretty hyped after the World Cup, and I was top of my mini league, and overall I got a rank of 99,956 with over 2,000 points. I then started YouTube, or at least I started YouTube regarding fantasy football in 2015-16 season. There I got a rank of 24,754. Didn't have a great start, and it was a bit rough. People were like, who is this guy making videos? 2016 season, 17 season, just missed out on top 10k. But these 2 years here, I was happy with. because from going from 99,000 to 24, I was happy. Going from 24 to just outside the top 10k, while it was gutting because I literally looked like I was going to get it and then just missed out on it, was very gutting, but I was still happy. Last year, I wanted to be around this area again, ideally in the top 10k. While I did beat my 2015-16 score, 21,946, I wasn't happy overall to have digressed, I suppose, in overall rank. But I'm happy that generally I'm in the upper, I suppose, echelon as player. If 5.5 million people play, I'm not doing too bad with these ranks. Would I like a better rank this year? Definitely. But anyway, let's try and get that back onto a normal-ish screen, because I don't think people want to just stare at my rank all the time. Did I just say wank? Ah, never mind. So, back to the chat. Paddy Parr. Salah will be in my side as we get Tony Clark joining the flock. Thank you so much. Can we get some birds in the chat for Tony Clark joining the flock? Welcome. Salah will probably be in my side by game week 5. I just took him out. Good to see you, Eddie Gooner, by the way. I took him out because there was the possibility he dropped in price. And if he did drop in price, I didn't want to take that hit on him. As I'm on the wild card, I can bring him back in easily. So Salah isn't going anywhere. I don't think Shaw will start Kevin Spain. Is that Gase? How do you think Pereira from Leicester will perform? I don't think Leicester are going to get too many clean sheets, but Pereira is playing out of position very advanced, so I do like the look of him. Shashank Bandari. Suarez and Sturridge were like a perfect partnership fantasy football-wise. Mark O'Leary knows Zaha because I don't know what his injury update is. Basically, if there's any doubt over a player, on my wildcard, I'm not going to have him in my side. So Walcott, there's a chance he plays. It looks very possible. Shaw looks like he's out. Zaha, don't know enough about. So I'm not going to take the risk on any of them. As far as Abdullah M, Leicester's Pereira, Trent Alexander-Arnold or Holebas. Trent Alexander-Arnold will get the more clean sheets. I do really like the look of Holebas though, and for me those two beat out Pereira right now. Jack the Cat, do you ever need help with the stream? Not 100% sure what you mean, but generally the streams go okay. Sometimes we do get some people jumping in that aren't very nice, but generally we do alright on the stream. I mean, in the future I would like someone to collate the questions and kind of have us focus on some questions, because it is, I do every now and again have a pause in the stream where I'm just looking for a question. Nicholas Asimudis, should I go for a set and forget 4.5 or rotating? It's always easy to say yes to one or the other. If you think the budget is better used on a 4.5 and a 4, because 0.5 will really get you another player that you think is a lot better than the option you currently have, then it's probably possible that a set and forget 4.5 will do really well. Nick Pope last year, there are options, Fabianski, that will get a decent amount of points just by himself. But one, you have to figure out who that is. And two, would it be more beneficial to rotate them for home games? Sometimes rotation pairings can outperform just one goalkeeper. Sometimes it's not even worth the hassle. So I would generally build, I think this is what I'll probably do from this point onwards. I would generally probably build my team before choosing the goalkeepers, just with in mind trying to leave 9 million. But then if I end up like looking at David Luiz, or not David Luiz, but say Azpilicueta, and if I just have a set and forget 4.5 and a 4 million, I can move up to Alonso, then in my mind, that's a move you'd make. Because Azpilicueta, as I made you read this, I made you read this as just on the flock. Well, hey, it's a subscriber, isn't it? But thanks for that. I've got to be careful of that now, haven't I? Now I'm getting bigger. The trolls may come in with subscribers and stuff like that just to make me read stuff that is stupid. So I might have to like mentally check myself before I read stuff out. But thanks for joining the flock, by the way. Is it okay if I call you Goose? I mean, I don't want to say too much about myself, but when you give me a super chat, you can call me whatever you like. I'm thick-skinned. You can say what you like to me. I do remember a time when I used to be rattled online on streams, but yeah, those days are gone. Will Hammer play when he's back? Probably not. Again, Hammer's just there because this isn't my final side, just chasing price rises. Chaos saying, are you going to have guests on your stream, say moderators or some other people? To be honest, the reason I haven't done it yet is because, one, I didn't want to take away from what I was doing with the Wildcats, where we are going to generally strive to have guests. We've so far, and if you guys don't know, go check out FPL Wildcats channel. It's something I'm involved in with FPL TV, FPL Nimfria and Kurt. So far we have had FPL Family on our channel, we've had Who Got the Assist on our channel, and we have also had Jules Breach on the channel as well. So we are definitely striving to get guests on there. So if I'm not the person getting all these guests, by the way, I'm just the one that does all the behind the scenes stuff because I don't have a life because I have children, so I've got plenty of time to edit and upload. But maybe in the future I'll start getting guests on. I kind of want to do something different though than what we're doing on the Wildcats with guests, so I might try something different. And it would be interesting to do it with some of you guys as well. The issue with doing it with you guys, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, is I don't know how you'd perform on a stream, whereas I've got a bit of a better idea how people like Kurt are going to perform on stream, so on and so forth. So that would maybe be something where it would have to be tested first, kind of like get into a Skype chat or something and just generally talk, see what you like on camera, that kind of stuff. You may just want to do audio, but still, with most people you ask on, you generally get a good idea of what they're going to be like because they either do podcasts or they do streams and YouTube videos. So that's the only real reason why it's a bit of a Taman Carr. There's no way Spencer FC just talked about me in his video. That is very, very unlikely. FPL Frenchie, that's definitely a possibility, you being a guest. We could definitely work something out there. I'd have to work out on my layout though, because I've not really done that for that. But like I said, as this keeps growing, I do plan to do some very interesting content with other people, not just stream wise. Daraj Pandey, Salah in or Salah out? To be honest, for me, Salah is still someone that I want to have on my side. I've talked about it so many times. Like, some of you may get so tired of me talking about Salah, but total attempts wise, Salah's still head and shoulders above the rest. Shots inside the box, Salah is head and shoulders above the rest. Big chances total, head and shoulders above the rest. Shots on target, I'm saying head and shoulders, sometimes he's only 1 or 2 better than everyone else, but he's still the best. Now where he's dropping off is shot conversion, goal accuracy, stuff like that. But if we also go to stuff like expected goals, is he just having a bad patch? Or if we go expected goals, Salah at 2.84 expected goals. Pogba is at 2.7, Mane's at 1.96. So right now, he's not doing as well as you'd expect. Expected goal involvement, 3.68 is expected goal involvement, so he is doing lower than is expected on that front. But Salah is the one, and if you don't know what expected goals and expected assists and expected goal involvement mean, is because Opta's been going around for so long, Opta stats can be used to get what's called expected goals and expected assists. And the way it works is depending on where the chance is from, if it's one-on-one, if it's in the 6-yard box, if it's a tap-in, if it's from distance, how often goals are scored from certain areas of the pitch. An expected goal score can be given, or rating can be given to each chance. And from that, players can be given an expected goal rate regarding the chances they've had. And then you can see how many they're scoring compared to how many they're expected to score. So what you can take from that is you can take, okay, he's been getting the chances and not been scoring them, or he's been getting the chances and scoring them, or scoring more often than he should. But also you're seeing what kind of chances he's getting. So high expected goal shows you that they're getting good chances, and then you can see how many they're converting. A low expected goal means they're not getting good chances, even if they're getting lots of attempts on goal. They might be poor positioned attempts. And then you can try and gather whether they're just on a really good bit of form, if they're a really clinical finisher and scoring good goals as well as the normal ones they should be scoring, or if they're out of form and not scoring and not really clinical in front of goals. So a lot can be read from that. What I'm taking is Salah is, from what we saw last year, a good player that can score good goals. So with his expected goals still high, I think he will pick up in terms of goals. Santi Cazorla, I'm planning on streaming on Friday, and then we will proper go into what my team will be. Sometimes he's only a head above the rest and not head and shoulders. For me, Jack the Cat, if Lacazette was a starter, I'd say Lacazette is the one to go for. FPL French, you've just started, mate. You've just started. Jamal Rice is in the chat and Byrie Beckford in the chat as well. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Wow, that was a flying visit because apparently Jamal's leaving already as well. Pereira, I like the look of. Jamal Rice, to be honest, I think some players put way too much into expected goals, but I do think it is a useful tool. But I just think you can't just base everything off of that. But I do now use it more than I did last season, but I'm not relying on it because I think relying on any one stat is stupid. I think you need to... I think the main thing to do is watch as many games as possible. I really think if you watch a football game, you probably get even more from watching the game or on those players playing than you do from these stats, because stats can be deceiving. If you ever done statistics or mathematics, stats can be used in a deceiving way. I could very easily make certain players look better if I decided to not give you all the information, and sometimes I may even do that without meaning to. For instance, I could quite easily say someone like Deeney right now is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So joint 8th-ish for attempts on goal. And he's being beaten by the likes of Raul Jimenez, Lukaku, Benteke, Arnautovic, Williams, Callum Wilson, Ings, Mitrovic and Aguero. But do I believe in any way that Deeney is a worse option than Christian Benteke? No. But if I only told you attempts on goal, Benteke beats Troy Deeney. Benteke beats Harry Kane, Firmino, Lacazette, Morata. If I don't mention minutes played, Lacazette is even worse off than Troy Deeney as far as his total attempts. But I try and give as good a picture on as whole a picture as possible. I do suggest that if you can, you look at stats yourself as well as listen to advice. Get as much information as possible, but statistics can be used to deceive people. And if I only talked about certain statistics, then certain players are going to look better than others. Like if I only looked at attempts on goal, Alonso is a much better option than Benjamin Mendy. But then if I only looked at chances created, Mendy's a better option than Alonso. So you have to take as much on board as possible. And I think expected goals is a tool that you can use along with shot accuracy, goal conversion, total attempts on target, all of that stuff. And at the end of the day, unless you're looking at them yourself, I could say one thing, you could misread what I said, or you could take what I said at face value, and I could have completely missed something that I've not looked at. Michael Roke, I've already used my wildcard. This is a wildcard. Gace also says, I think, and I agree with him, watching a player is the most important part of it. I think you can do a lot more with the stats if you've watched a player play than you can without watching the player play, if that makes sense. So, like, Aguero's looked sharp, but he's not really returned that great apart from that one game. But he's looked like he could return. Now, you could look at the stats and not necessarily see that he's looked like he could return. And then you've got Aubameyang, you could look at his stats and go, oh, maybe he just was unlucky. Whereas I feel like Aubameyang's wasted some very, very good opportunities. So is not really someone I want to jump on because he doesn't look in form at the moment. Sheriff Ed says, just afraid from players from teams who not always play good, like Bournemouth and Watford. To be honest, it's completely fair, but to back Bournemouth, Bournemouth generally score goals. They're not bad at scoring goals. Defensively, I wouldn't really look at them. Watford, if they do the same as last year, you can be sure that they're going to have a good start and then tail off. But there'll always be times when a team do better than we thought. Burnley last year, for instance. So if you can get on that before they rise in price too much, then you're going to be better off than if you wait too long. It is a guessing game. Anyway, I said I'd look at Pereira, so I better do that before I forget. Although I somehow have got rid of my midfielders table, which is annoying. So let's quickly bring that back up. Give me a second, boys and girls. Not many girls in there, I know, but, you know, we can dream. Okay, so Pereira, 6.3 million, decent value. Is playing very out wide heat map wise. His heat map wise doesn't show much cutting in, to be fair. Although there is some green patches in the penalty box on his side of the pitch. 356 minutes, looks pretty nailed on. So far, 3 goals, which is good as well for 4 games. Expected goals, you're looking at 0.48. Expected assists, 0.27. So not amazing there, but people can outperform their expected goals and assists. We've got involvement rate at 33%. Penalty area touches at 22, which is not bad for 4 games. Goal attempts 9 from inside the box, 9, so he's not shooting from outside the box. Shots on target 4, that's not too bad, almost 50%. Minutes per attempt just under the 40 minutes at 39.6. Shot accuracy at 44.4%. Goal conversion at 33.3. Chances created 3, big chances 2. So he's only created 3 chances, but 2 of them, 2/3, were good chances that he created as well. So he doesn't look bad, and at his price, he looks a pretty decent option, 6.3. Do I think he'll be the best option around that price? Probably not, but it's possible. But if Lucas Moura can keep his spot, he looks the best option. I think Pedro as well is a bit more expensive, but could be a good option too. And I don't know how to say it, Gase. It shouldn't be that hard to say, but Richarlison is definitely someone to consider once he's back as well. Johan Magnussen, we have spoken about what I might change, but hopefully I plan to stream on Friday and really go over that properly. Alonso valid captain choice from Jeff. I definitely think Alonso could be. I mean, they're playing Cardiff next, if I'm correct, at home. So for me, that's a likely clean sheet. I'll never guarantee it, but it's likely. Alonso has been getting attacking threats as well. So if he gets a goal and a clean sheet, he's in the double figures. Do I regularly say to go after a defender as captain? No. I personally think you could get bigger bang for your buck. But right now, if you're going to captain a defender, I'd say you captain Alonso. If you don't have Hazard, then I could understand it. For me, City versus Fulham, with Fulham playing the attacking way they are playing, I'm hoping with City at home that there's goals to be had there. So for me, it's between Aguero and Hazard, and then you can consider Alonso as well. Sheriff Ed, I'm worried that there won't be any more price rises, which means one of the reasons I play my wildcard won't work out, but it wasn't the only reason. My team did need it. I was going to try and play at game week 7-ish area, but you know. Santi Cazorla, I agree. I don't get this whole Salah business. People have said Salah's out of form. Like, he's looked decent. I do think he's playing a different role, though, so I will still be interested how it pans out. But he's definitely still very close to having a big scoring game week. Anyway, guys, I am going to quickly cover some other stuff before I go, and then maybe look at a few more questions. Can't be too much longer because it's almost 10 o'clock. Did want to talk quickly about strikers that maybe we'd forgotten about who came back into form in game week 4. A lot of strikers have disappointed, but really Aguero, Kane and Aubameyang were the ones on all of our minds. That's the way I saw it. But Romelu Lukaku came back and scored 2 for Man United against a, to be honest, tired and not looking great Burnley side. Lacazette in his first start also did it very, very well. 2 goals for Lukaku, 12 penalty area touches in that game, 4 shots on target out of 5 attempts, minute per chance at 18 minutes. Lacazette, 1 goal, 1 assist, 12 penalty area touches as well, 5 attempts, 4 from inside the box, 18 minutes as well. Chance created 1 less than Lukaku. So both Lukaku and Lacazette looked good in the one game. Would I go anywhere near Man United right now? To be honest, probably not. I think if you bring in Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool as your premium players, you're probably going to be all right. Then also Spurs would be in my consideration. But Arsenal, Lacazette potentially. But right now, Lacazette's the only real one that I'm thinking about. Mickey maybe will do better. Defensively, Arsenal look poor. Man United, not really sure about them as a unit. They did get points, of course, against Burnley, but Burnley, I think, were a side that were there for the taking, and I could understand the bounce back from United in that game. A lot of people talking about Salah's fixtures. I get that, and I've said this on the Wildcat stream as well. The only player I think is worth bringing in for Mohamed Salah right now is Eden Hazard. If you are bringing anyone else in for Salah to save money, you are literally just doing it to save money. The only, maybe I consider Mane as well, but if you mention anyone else to me to bring in for Salah as a midfielder that is not Mane and is not Hazard, I think 1, you're either risking rotation, or 2, you're bringing in a player that cannot score the kind of points that Salah, Hazard or Mane could potentially score over the next couple of fixtures. But I said it and I'll always say it, Salah, Mane, Liverpool, Firmino can score a lot of goals against the big sides. Just because they're playing a big side doesn't mean goals won't be scored. They might not win, but you've got to understand, in a game of football, sometimes it is easier to score against a team that's defence isn't sitting back and trying to defend for their life. Clubs like Newcastle, clubs like Cardiff, clubs like any lower league side lower league, lower table side is going to defend for their lives against the kind of pace and attacking talent that Liverpool have. So there's not going to be much space behind, and Salah, Mane thrive on space behind the defence. As soon as they play a defence that gives them that space behind, you saw it against Roma, they are going to score lots of goals. They're more likely to get that space against Spurs than they are against a side that are just going to go, you know what, we need to stop Mohamed Salah and Mane scoring. So for me, when you're bringing in a player like Salah, you're bringing in a player like Hazard, yes, good fixtures is a plus, but you should be bringing them in because they're the type of player that can score in any game. Not just because they can score in good fixtures, because the defence may be more solid in a good fixture than in a bad fixture. Now, reverse that, do I think defensively, when you're picking a defender, do good fixtures help? Yes, if they're playing a side that don't score many goals, defenders are a lot more likely to keep a clean sheet. Especially if they're completely dominating, controlling the game like, say, Man City can, then again, the defender's more likely to keep a clean sheet and is going to have that freedom to go forward. So, for me, fixtures is something you really focus on for defenders. If defender has a good run of fixtures, fantastic. Attacking players, if you're paying the big bucks for an attacking player, they should be capable of scoring against anyone. Now, when you go lower down the budget, then again, fixtures come into play. If you've got, say, a player like Ryan Fraser, he's more likely to score in the game where it's competitive, Bournemouth have a chance and are going for the win, than if they're being dominated by a big side. So again, fixtures come in for the lower budget, but for premium players, the fixtures really shouldn't matter. They should be capable of scoring against anyone. Kane scored against Man United in August. Was it in August? I think it was in August. So I don't think he's regularly scored against Man United. He doesn't regularly score in August, but he did it this year. So please don't just look at a premium price player and think fixtures are too tough, I'm going to drop him. Now defensively, again, reverse it. A hard fixture, Liverpool against Spurs, I see Spurs scoring. Because the way Liverpool play, because the way Spurs play. But again, Robertson may get some attacking returns. I wouldn't take him out for that. But there you go. And I think we may call it there. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this stream. I'm hoping I can play that clip of me ranting about Salah after Salah scores a hat-trick against Spurs or something. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining the stream. If you want to support the channel in any way, various links in the description down below. But just hitting that like button is all I can really ask for. I'll be happy with that. So hit that like button. Leave any comments down in the comments down below. Check out my Twitter. If you want to tweet at me, go for it. I will try and be as active on Twitter as possible. And of course, if you want to become part of the Discord channel I've got going, there is the Patreon link as well. Hopefully, as Ewan McMahon has joined the flock, so thank you so much, Ewan. Hopefully, I've lost track. That subscriber really caught me off guard. What was I going to say? Hopefully I'll be hitting 9,000 subscribers soon and we'll be on the climb to 10k, and I'm hoping to bring something out special for that as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And that is it. So thank you guys for tuning in as always. I've been JNO, this has been FPL today. I think I've covered everything, and remember, it's all about the game.